Hi everyone, this is Sherry Clark, and welcome to Courage to Be Seen. This show's for anyone who longs to take charge of their life, to create more success, accomplish their dreams, and to live in inspiring ways to be powerfully visible and visibly powerful. I will be sharing stories with you from my own career and experiences, from leading engineering teams for the last 20 years, and also from interactions I have been blessed to have with people I've met from around the world. I want to give you the tools, techniques, strategies, and inspiration so you can be the best you. You can achieve the success you desire, personally and professionally. Being authentic, confident, and empowered are the keys to success and the life that you want. You can have the courage to be seen. Hi, I'm Sherry Clark, and welcome to Courage to Be Seen. I'm so excited that you're here with me today, where we talk about topics to help you have more success in your life. I want to give you the strategies, the tools, the techniques, and motivation so you can turn your dreams and desires into reality. So I have a question for you to start off today, and it seems simple, but when was the last time that you truly looked at yourself in the mirror, that you stopped, not while brushing your teeth or even combing your hair, but really stopped to look at yourself in the mirror? I'm sure that you've been told, all over the place right now that you're enough. It's a topic that's very popular with authors, with bloggers, and social media. And if everyone is telling us that we're enough, why don't you feel like you're enough? It's very common. Most people would say they don't feel like they're enough. So to go back to my question of when was the last time that you looked at yourself in the mirror, I'm going to challenge you. Take some time and try it. Look into your eyes, and what do you see? If you're really daring, you could try this when you get out of the shower and look at your whole body. But for most people, looking for even a moment at their own eyes is too much. And to try to look at their whole body would be overwhelming. What kind of feelings come up? What kind of emotions are you feeling? Are you trying to fill some of that and turn it away by saying negative comments like maybe my legs are too fat? What emotions come up for you? Doubt? Do you question if you're being enough? That's the topic for today's episode. It's one that's very true and dear to my heart. So it's being authentic. And being authentic is one of the keys to feeling like that you're enough. Being authentic is one of the cornerstones and pillars of my ACES program, Authentic, Confident, Empowered, which is the keys to success. And I realized we had not talked about being authentic yet on this show. So I thought it was a great topic for us to talk about today. This is really actually, a topic today more important than ever. If you think about on social media, there's so many people that, influencers that are out there trying to get likes, trying to get people to share their posts. They spend so much time and effort to have those perfect pictures, that all the post-processing is done. That's not reality. That's not being authentic, but people see it. And then they try to measure their own lives to that. And that's just an unrealistic yardstick. And so it's even harder to feel or know what's authentic, what's true, what is, the things that are important to our life. So don't use social media as your measuring stick to being authentic. One of my favorite quotes from Brene Brown is, authenticity is a collection of choices that we have to make every day. It's about the choice to show up and be real, the choice to be honest, the choice to let our true selves be seen. Many times when we think about authenticity, we think about politicians. And this is true. You could say, are politicians being authentic when they're trying to get your vote? Are they flip-flopping on their opinions or their stance on a particular topic? But that's not what I want us to focus on today. That's not the kind of authenticity that I think that we need in our lives. I want to talk about being authentic and being true to yourself. I want to talk about it on a personal and a meaningful way. So are you being authentic to yourself? Authentic is defined as the undisputed origin, genuine, based on facts, accurate or reliable. Some examples of it used is like an authentic wood stove, authentic decor in a restaurant, an authentic painting. Synonyms include real, original, actual, bona fide, true, reliable, dependable, trustworthy, honest. I think these are all, synonyms that you'd like to describe yourself with. So I think we want to be more authentic. It's a key to trust. If people don't think that you're authentic, they're not going to trust you. If you're not being authentic to yourself, you won't trust yourself and you won't feel like you're enough. And trust is one of the foundations of having relationships, both with yourself and with others. So I'm going to challenge you as we think about being authentic and having the courage to be seen, because the two are tied hand in hand. You have to be authentic. You have to be willing to be seen. You have to be willing to be witnessed. So if this is so important, why are we not authentic? You could probably say that you think it's valuable, but if that's the case, why is it so hard to be authentic? First of all, is too often we're trying to please others. 74% of girls say they're under pressure to please everyone. This was in the Super Girl Dilemma research by Girls Inc. 74%. That is like way too much, because it is completely impossible to please everyone. And in reality, we shouldn't be trying to please everyone. Not everyone needs to be pleased all the time. The second reason we're not authentic is many times we think we make like sacrifices, or we are doing things because we have to achieve our goals. And this was probably me early in my career. I didn't know it, but I did what I thought. I had my goals, so I set out to achieve them. I didn't want to be highlighted as a female engineer. I wasn't being authentic to myself. And I thought that's what was necessary at the time, maybe to further my career. And lastly, we just don't want to challenge the status quo. It seems easier at the time just to go along with everyone else. So these are all reasons why it's so much easier sometimes not to be authentic. But I have learned being authentic has really improved my life. And so that's why, like I said, this is a topic that's true and dear to me. The first one is around, like I said, early in my career, I really wanted to minimize and not be highlighted as a female engineer. I wanted to be the best engineer. I didn't care male or female. So I minimized. I didn't like things like Society of Women Engineer. I just didn't like to be highlighted in that way. Versus today, I embrace, and I'm very proud of the fact that I'm a female engineer. And I try to help as many other women as I can. The other item is I was a perfectionist. And I can tell you, if you're trying to be a perfectionist, that's the easiest way to fail. And it's not being authentic, because nobody can be perfect at everything. Everyone's going to make mistakes. So if that's your goal, to be perfect, to be a perfectionist, you're already signing yourself up not to be authentic. So I want to highlight some ways, just in general, that you may be doing that you're not authentic. The first one is trying to be a perfectionist. Like I said, this is the easiest way to set yourself up for failure, because it's impossible. It can't be done. If this is you, you have to give it up. Do not think that you're just going to be perfect at everything. The second one is playing too small. Too often we minimize or diminish ourselves for the sake of others. That we don't highlight our own achievements. We don't play them up when we should, Maybe it's to try to make other people feel better. Maybe it's just not to shine the light on us, but we just play too small. Another way that we're not being authentic is we always say yes. When was the last time that you agreed to do something on your overly packed schedule? You know you don't have time to make that batch of brownies to send with your kid to their next event, or your weekend's already full, or maybe your weekend's not full and you really were going to use the weekend to recover and someone asked you to do something and you said yes. You're not being authentic if you really meant no, but you're saying yes. Another way is the crowd mentality, just going along with others. Many times we're just avoiding feeling something that might be painful. So we just go along. We're not standing up for what we believe, or we don't say anything when we know we should. These are all ways that we're not being authentic. The next one is ignoring self-care. If you've been asked, how are you? And you just blindly say, okay, when you're really not, you're not being authentic. It doesn't mean you have to go around whining and everyone has to know about every sore muscle that you have or that you feel a little off today. However, if a good friend of yours asks, how you're doing and you hide your true feelings, you're not really being authentic. Also, if you need something and you're not taking care of yourself, maybe that's sleep, maybe it's a good meal, maybe it's some time away, you're also not being authentic. I'm an introvert. Most people are surprised to learn that. And I know in my job, I deal with a lot of people and I'm around a lot of people, but I know when I do that, I need some time away. I need to plan some quiet time. If I don't, I go crazy. And so that might be on the weekend, or that might be some time alone, just laying in my bed or meditating. But I know I need some of that time, that self-care, because I can't just go. That's just not how I was built. And so if I don't do that, I'm not being authentic to myself. Another way is looking externally for approval. Why would someone else's opinion be more valuable than your own beliefs? Now think about that. If you're looking for approval from others, that doesn't mean you can't get feedback and ask people their opinion. And sometimes that's important. But don't value the opinions of others. Don't look for their judgment and value that more than your own beliefs and your own intuition. It's very important that you don't defer to others. We already talked about trying to please everyone, which is impossible. Some people that's just not going to work. And the last thing I would say, that you dwell on the past. Realize the past is there. It's already gone. You can't change it. So don't dwell on it. You're not being authentic when you do. So you might be wondering, now that I listened to all this, I'm trying to figure out, am I being authentic or not? So some signs where, you not being authentic may be affecting your life are, you have this fear of missing out. Are you thinking that maybe you should have accomplished more in your life than you have? Are you giving up on your dreams? Now, I'm not saying that dreams can't change. If you would have asked me when I was 12, I would have told you my dream was to be an astronaut. My dream today isn't to be an astronaut. So it's totally fine that at some point in my life, I gave up on that dream. However, if I have a dream right now that I still have, and I'm not working towards it, that I just gave it up for whatever reason, or more like suppressed it, kept it hidden, I'm not being authentic. And if that's the case, I may feel like, isn't there more to life? There has to be more than just this, because I'm not working towards something that's important to me. Maybe you feel resentment towards others because you think when you see them that they're living a more authentic life. Depression can be another symptom of you not being authentic. And sometimes even just general unhappiness. So if you have any of this going on in your life, think about some of the topics that we're talking about, and maybe you could make some changes and be more authentic. Authenticity requires a certain measure of vulnerability, transparency, and integrity. This is why it's so hard to be authentic, because to be authentic, you have to be vulnerable. And I know being vulnerable is so hard. Even sometimes admitting that you're going to be vulnerable is hard. Many times when we are vulnerable, we regret it. The next day we feel completely awful. However, the more you put yourself out there, the more you're open to being vulnerable, the easier it does get. I know I've been practicing this for a while, and it does get easier. So that, unfortunately, when you want to be more authentic, it's not always the most comfortable, easy way that's going to go forward. However, I do have some steps and some things that you can try to incorporate in your life so you can be more authentic starting today. And it will take time and it will take practice, and it's kind of a little bit of step at a time, but they build on each other, and you will find, with time and practice, that maybe some of those other uncomfortable feelings that you're having in your life about, is this enough, just start to go away. So the first thing I challenge you to try is to be present, to live in the moment. This is hard. You need to be self-aware and observe yourself and be honest. You can't keep bringing up the past and live through whatever already happened over and over again. I used to do this. Many times if I was in an important meeting or I had a discussion with somebody, I would relive it in my head over and over again. And I'd analyze, did I say the right thing? Could I have answered it differently? And now doing that maybe once is good reflection, and taking notes or making mental notes at least of what you could do differently next time or how you could improve your responses. But if you're just living the past over and over and over again, that's not helping anyone. So learn from the past, but use it to move forward. Focus on being present. One thing you can do with this is, meditation, mindfulness meditation. You can research it online. There's lots of ways, different techniques. Try yoga class, but focus on being present, being here right now, right here today, not worrying about what you're going to have for dinner tonight, but focus on being present and being with me and doing that throughout your day. The second thing that you can do to be more authentic is apologize when needed. Now with this, I am not saying that every sentence or all the time that you should say, I'm sorry. This is very common, that especially with women, that we apologize. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. I'm sorry. That's not what I'm saying here. But when you do something and you really need to apologize, just say, hey, I made a mistake. I'm going to do better. That's not what I meant to do. That's not how I intended it to come out. If you do this, and the more you do it, the easier it is. And going back to what I told you, I definitely am a recovering perfectionist. This has been a hard one for me because you can't defend yourself. You can't try to say, why you did it that way. Just say, hey, I messed up. I made the wrong decision. It's not going to happen again. I'm going to try to do better. And it really will help you. So I highly, highly encourage this one. The third thing that you can do is practicing expressing your true thoughts, feelings, and desires. Now, I'm not going to suggest that you start with sharing these all over the place. You don't have to post them on Facebook. I mean, if you want to, you can go ahead, but I wouldn't recommend it. But I would start with keeping a journal and writing down your feelings in the journal, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what are your desires. Start at least admitting things to yourself. That's a huge, huge step. And when it's documented, it makes them more true, makes them more real. So practice acknowledging how you're feeling. And it's okay if you're sad or you're angry or whatever that feeling may be. just admit that you're having it. If you want to share them, if you have a close friend, feel free. That's like another step that you can take, but you don't have to start there. If that's just way too much, just start admitting them to yourself. The next one is, I would encourage you to focus on experiences rather than material items. My family kind of, has taken this one and tried to practice it a lot. Like, we love to go try restaurants, and not just fancy steakhouses or fancy restaurants. Sometimes it might be the best local sandwich shop, while we're traveling, or when we were in Philadelphia, trying to find, all the different places that have cheesesteaks and then kind of rate them as a family, which one's better at different shops. So it doesn't have to be something expensive, but that experience that we did together was a lot of fun. We love to go zip lining when we travel as a family. So focus on what kind of experiences you can fill in your life, rather than keeping up with the Joneses, buying the bigger house, filling it full of things, what car do you drive, etc. That will help you be more authentic just by having a rich life full of different experiences. One thing I love to do when we're out and about, we try to take hikes, and I love waterfalls. So if we can take a hike, to go experience a new waterfall that we haven't seen before, I just love it. So that's just one of the things we kind of look for, and my family knows I love them. So if we can take a hike while we're on vacation to go find a waterfall, then we're all in for that. So find out what works for you, but fill your life full of a lot of experiences. The fifth thing is stop procrastinating. I know it can be hard that we fill our lives full of all kinds of little menial things like surfing the web, spending time on social media, maybe playing games. And that all takes away from the work that you really need to do, the work that is authentic to your mission in life, to help you, feel like you're enough. So you really need to stop and get started. I've talked about in a lot of these podcasts, different ways to take action. I encourage you to review past shows for that, and make sure that you're just not like stuck in a rut, and you're not living the life that you mean because you're just not taking action. You just have to get started. Find something to do today. Don't put it off to tomorrow. Find something that you can do today to put your actions, into work. The sixth item is set boundaries. You have to do this. You have to know where your boundaries are. And these can include self-care. They can include the schedule that you work. They can include your friends, your family, but set boundaries to take care of yourself. The seventh item is listen to others. And that doesn't mean that you have to agree with them. It doesn't mean that you have to defend your own point. Take some time to truly listen. Question in your mind, why do they feel this way? And listen to their opinion. Let them have their opinion. It doesn't have to agree with your own. But the more opinions you have, the more diverse set of experiences that you can have, just enriches your life. So I encourage you to truly listen to others. The eighth thing is accept that you're a work in progress. It's progress, not perfection. We're going to make mistakes. It's okay. Just keep working. Think of what can I do next? How can I get better? The ninth item is be willing to take responsibility for your life. This one can be hard. It's so much easier to blame others. It's so much easier to let someone else make the decisions. That way, if it doesn't work out, you don't have to take responsibility. Don't do that. I can't, and you can't control, what happens to us in this life, but we all can control how we respond to it. And that's what we need to focus on. And that you can do. So you may have a tough situation, but focus on how you respond to that. Take responsibility for your life. Make the decisions. Don't put your life in someone else's hands. And lastly, I challenge yourself to let yourself be seen. And this takes courage. That's what this whole show was actually originally named for, courage to be seen. It takes time. You have to take it one step at a time. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be authentic. But step into your life. Own it. Be proud. Be vulnerable. But you can do it, and let yourself be seen. And this takes trust, and it does take practice, but you'd be amazed as you do it one step at a time, and be willing to not worry about what people's judgment is. Because remember, like we said earlier, that don't let someone else's beliefs, overshadow what you know and what you believe. So let me summarize the 10 things that you can do to live a more authentic life. First of all, be present. Live in the moment. Second, apologize when needed. Third, practice expressing your true thoughts, feelings, and desire. Probably start in a journal. You don't really have to share them. Focus on experiences rather than material possessions. Fifth, stop procrastinating. Just get started. Sixth, set boundaries. Seventh, truly listen to others. 8, accept that you're a work in progress. Progress over perfection. 9, be willing to step up and take responsibility for your life. And 10, let yourself be seen. We can only be ourselves, and by embracing myself, I have found that, my whole life has improved. I've transformed my life. It's so much more fulfilling. The more courage I have to let myself be seen has allowed me to have so much more success. And I know if you work on it, you could also have more success in your life. So I invite you to check out my website, couragetobeseen.com. There you can find out about me and my coaching program. You can check out my blogs. I also encourage you to check me out on Instagram at Sherry Clark, Courage to Be Seen. I post daily motivational messages. You can follow me so that way you can get them and get the motivation you need, every day to make improvements in your life. If you like this, I encourage you to subscribe so you get notification when the next one comes out. Thanks for listening, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you've been inspired to take action on at least one thing starting today. To learn more, check out couragetobeseen.com. There you'll find my blog and additional resources, including you can download a copy of 10 Ways to Live a More Courageous Life. Thanks again for listening, and make sure you tune in next time to learn additional ways to have the courage to be seen in your own life.
Views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.